You're unmuted.
I stream.
Rodent, I added a few replay links right under the bounty. If you could sort those, that'd be a little helpful.
Alright.
Are you and Idle up to date on the summary stats and all that? Able to do all that as usual?
Yeah, I can check. I can help with that.
Check the challenges. Who's doing that? There's only so many that are going on. Like, is True Noob still trying to bop heavy or what? Or
good luck if he is. Just put up another run.
Yeah, the only challenge we need to do anything with is the higher runes one, and then eventually the tasks. But
yeah, and I'll handle
we'll do that later. So challenges are pretty much up to date.
All right.
The only automatically updating challenge this round was the Luciferin challenge.
Yep.
I'm not still doing my challenge because I don't have internet on my laptop, so even if I did beat the time, I wouldn't have evidence of it. So
good to know.
I'm sorry.
Destroyed is what you mean.
I'm sorry. I only did it within the last couple days. I have been a bad teammate and also challenge person, I guess.
you're good.
Just like last time on the bear map, we found like 0.2 to 0.3 of time saving literally last night. So it's been another just push to grind to optimize it. So my apologies again to Moss and Lord.
Minute and a half left. Anyone still grinding? MSG, yes. Maybe it was a PB 2 minutes ago. Is that one also no rope dart?
Again, I was just saying this in the channel. I don't know what the rope dart bind is. Every run I've done is no rope dart.
Alright.
It's taunt.
Okay.
Oh, no
Let's see
need
if
to
I have
try
taunt
that one
bound.
out. Just, don't try it out and just be like, oh, that's how people are going faster than me when seeing the results.
If I didn't have teammates, I would legitimately... Actually, you know what? If I didn't have teammates, if I hadn't jumped into chat when I was playing, I wouldn't have known that I wasn't doing SS on this challenge, and I would have not played.
Alright, so, yeah, nothing to update on challenges then. Those are all final for those. Except for tasks. $20 more seconds for runs.
For the perfect red section, I know someone who got all reds, but they
We're
went back
only
to get a
listing them
full
if they
Udon
show
after
up
the
in
round.
roster or keys, because that's the same list.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
in the keys tab, if they got 18 reds, that's perfect reds.
Okay.
Right, time for the final update and all that. Shoutouts
All
to
good.
this not being a good UI for this. Doing the final keys update right now too.
Yep.
That one takes a little bit longer.
Not long. Not that long to do.
Alright, well. Eyes on the prize, looking good all the way up there. Let me keep posting some stuff I need to handle, and we'll recap things in a moment. Alright. Idle, you can, in round 3 summary, put in the chat message counts.
Yeah, I can do that right now.
All right, Alice Apologist is 2742 plus 15. Eyes on the Fries.
Wait, double check. 2742, right?
Yeah, plus 15. Eyes on the Fries is
Alright.
6903 plus 2794.
All right.
V ceilings is 4084 plus 326. Team Dello owns is 9932 plus 24. Just under
Just
10K.
barely snatching away chat messages.
Wow, look at that. Clinching chat messages. That's clearly all that mattered. Because every chat message was 1 point, right? Just enough for the clinch. Alright, let me see what else I have remaining. Let's go hit announcements. Enter. Everybody do the map poll in the meantime. Alright, so I'm assuming all these things are up to date then? Or they should be, and then after that it's the stuff Roden's gonna do.
There's still a couple key counts left to update, but everything else should be good.
Alright. Let me just make sure I'm all set. Alright, well, looking at the team results, Eyes on the Fries looking good. There are 2 things that are not scored yet, which may or may not affect things. We'll see soon enough. Those include, in round 3, we have the relay times yet to be announced. That'll be something I'm announcing in not that long, really. It's one of the first things on the list. Giving people a chance to sweat a little bit more, I guess. And then there's the task challenge remaining, which could certainly affect things for challenges. So, looking at it this way, the most that Team Dello owns could possibly get would be a win in the relay, and then Eyes on the Fries if they got last place. Is that... I don't think that's enough on its own, right? Because that'd be a 12-point difference for that. Yeah, and then Eyes on the Fries, and Team Dello owns would be... Yeah, if Team Dello owns got first in that, and Eyes on the Fries got last, they would still be in second place no matter what, because they're already ahead in challenges. So, as a result, the relay technically doesn't matter, thanks to Eyes on the Fries clinching it in invert keys. But we'll still see how the relay results play into how this all works out. But Eyes on the Fries with this clinching it, I'm pretty sure. Unless challenge points also flipped and Eyes on the Fries got last. So yeah, okay. If unfortunately we know that Amber didn't do the task challenge, so this isn't going up, and Fresh cannot possibly earn more points, so Eyes on the Fries cannot possibly get worse than second place on challenges. And even then, Amber would still have to win the task challenge if there were a replay. So congrats Eyes on the Fries. It's not final scores yet, but we're getting there. It certainly looks like a clinch eyes on the fries win. So let's see how people
GG
did.
Eyes on the Fries.
Yeah, led by Fishy actually getting the perfect score at the end of the round. Not led by Fishy. Fishy doing what he could. Led by Masa, Sheila, and Magma Peach. 33 points from Sheila. Masa with the 62 on keys. Masa also getting one world record. The only world record not by Fishy or wait, no, Fishy got it at the end. Hold on.
Oh my god. Oh,
Does
wait.
Masa have one?
Oh yeah, no, Fishy took.
No,
Blizzard back.
Masa,
Alright.
like, no, Fishy just beat him, I think. Jesus
Alright, just
Christ.
kidding. Masa is not really that good, I guess. Fishy and Uckies, between the two of them, they got all of the world records this DLC. Masa was close, but Fishy snagged away that last one on Luciferin on within the last, I don't know how long, if anyone wants to look up that exact time. But it was pretty recent. But yeah, shoutouts to those two.
It was 4 hours ago. It was at
4 hours ago.
No, I guess we just didn't update that. But anyway, speaking of key counts should be updated.
That's when Fishy's run was?
Point.
I thought Masa's run was more recent than that.
You're
No,
talking about
Muscle's-
Luciferin, right? 'Cause
I'm
that's
talking about
37
Luciferin.
minutes ago.
Oh, Luciferin?
Yeah, when
Oh.
did,
Yeah,
when did
Fishy's
Fishy
run was
get that?
very recent. Happened while we
Wait,
were
what
in
the
call.
fuck?
Yeah,
I didn't even see that. Yeah, that's 37 minutes
Fishy's run
ago.
was,
Okay,
Fishy's
yeah.
run was like
Oh.
less than an hour ago. Yeah.
half an hour
Oops.
before the deadline, Fishy clinching that perfect score. And managing to drop a 5th place, which some people didn't even get that many points. All DLC. But yeah, good job to Fishy. Team Della owns with a very strong round 3 though. As long as they're not last in the relay, then and the challenge, then they probably get round 3. But we'll see. Plenty of people getting all the inverts. Let's see our perfect key list over here. So there were 10 people that got all 6 of the red keys. That's Arb, Fishy, Idol, JVC, Magma Peach, Maso, Nijima, Noel, Wazi, and Camel. 9 people got the perfect invert pluses. Aboss, Arb, Back, Cow, Magma Peach, Maso, Nijima, No Face, and Creets. 4 of those people overlapped, and those 4 people are also the only people who went perfect on all reds and all invert keys for all of DLC 9, including Arb, and then the trio of Eyes on the Fries at the top. Magma Peach, Maso, Nijima, aka Sheila. We had 3 world records, 2 man records, and 1 kid record the first time since Indiana Tacky Jones, which was DLC 4.
I can DLC 4. That's crazy, actually.
And that also pretty sure puts man at 1 more world record than worth total this DLC. Is she with the most records? But yeah, good job to a lot of players this DLC. A lot of people put in the work. We had a lot more keys earned this round than any other round. So if you just look at the overall summary, there's a big jump up between Team Della Owns and Eyes on the Fries for previous rounds. Team Della Owns the only team that increased every single round. Every other team fell off in round 2.
Yo, that +3 round 2 though.
Yep. Round 2 had some harder keys. Round 3 had some easier ones, but also competition was tight. People were really trying to win. Eyes on the Fries trying to defend being in the lead for, the first 2 rounds, having to fight up against some tough opponents the whole time, but edging them out most of the time. you know, Team Dillon's just finally taking a bigger chunk out of it this round. Just not big enough chunk. Right, I'll let me get these relay results ready. Alright, for the relay results, you'll be able to see the VODs after the recap. I'll make them public. But a quick summary, we had our 4 teams battle it out in the relay. 4 people did the SS18 DLC 9 standard maps. You know, all the things that had the standard keys on them. 1 person per team also did the invert maps, any percent. There were 12 of them, 4 per round. Only the invert maps. This was a pretty decisive relay in terms of results. There were actually pretty sizable gaps in between each team, so it really wasn't that close ultimately. Let's put in the results. So it didn't quite end up coming down to just 1 person at a time. So let's see. In 4th place, led by, man, I didn't write down all the names, but anyway, 4th place with a best segment of 828. We have Atlas Apologists with a 4303. 4303. All of the players basically were all in that 8:30 time frame. They did it right at the beginning. They get the first place so far for being the first team with the time in there. They actually did it really early in the round. They had an 8:30 on the invert by Firm. In 3rd place with a time of 41:50, we have Team V Ceilings 9. Led by Camel with a 7:13. In 2nd place and clinching 2nd, we have Team Della Owns with a time of 39:37. Led by JVC with a 7:52 and No Face with a stellar invert run of 7:16. But a dominant showing from Eyes on the Fries with a 37:43, and Sheila with the only sub-7 run, a 6:55, and a Magma Peach with a very solid 6:37 on the inverts. There were 6 people total who managed sub-8 times for the standard keys. 2 more if you include Magma Peach and No Face on the inverts. But pretty similar times across the board for each of these. But yeah, ultimately it's a team effort. There were no like huge chokes or anything like that certainly make up any of these gaps. Really, it's just you know, if you wanted to save that time, you had to get everyone across the board really has to hunker down and practice stuff like a relay, because you only get 1 shot. And Sheila was the only one that didn't make any huge mistakes after all. But everybody made their mistakes. But yeah, like I said, the bounty and relay stuff will be up after the recap. I'll handle that soon enough. give you guys access to the Bounty Spoilers channel too. If you want the links to them right now, they're in there. Alright, everybody should now be able to see the Hard Bounty Spoilers channel. What else do I need to show? The easy bounties next. These are sorted. I think I need that up anymore then. Alright, so for the easy bounty, I'm gonna show off some of these maps. Although the VODs are available as stated for these ones. All of the people on teams, if you want to release any of your team's easy bounty maps, one of you should, whoever wants to be the one person that releases it, we'll figure it out. But they're okay to be uploaded. Just ask me for the right file. Whoever wants to be the person that uploads it. But I'll briefly show off the levels, talk about them. Can one of you two do math in this area that I'm highlighting? Rodent or Idle, over here.
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
I didn't do that yet. Thanks. Alright, so winning the easy bounty was Team Della Owns, and not only that, they also had the longest time spent on their level, and you can see why when you open it. It turns out that all 3 teams that had to play this all decided to play it first, which is a rough awakening for the easy bounty, playing the hardest one first. Highlights include things such as the Team Dello Owns letters that got, some layer 20 stuff on top of it. There's a lot of spikes in there, things that hit you, all that. We got totems behind layer 20. This dust behind the waterfall it got some people for a while. The clip in this area is pretty awkward. The Giga Walls weren't really that dangerous, but some people made it more dangerous than they needed to. And some enemy combat made it pretty lengthy for the first half. Yeah, plenty of challenges with layer 20 in this. In terms of next most challenging, we had Eyes on the Fries. Their map also had plenty of issues, if you want to call it that. I'm sure all of you people that really want to SS these levels again will be very excited when they get uploaded soon. What were some of the main features here that troubled teams the most? This one had a little bit of everything. It kept the half Terra at the start, which definitely tripped up a few people. The Giga Balls added some enemies in there, so they weren't too much of a big deal, but the enemies themselves are pretty intimidating for a lot of the people that had to play these. Especially this area with the tire right here. Even though it only bounces up and down, it's still pretty tough to deal with. People had trouble with the totems. Even Paul was not exempt with all of the nerfs that had to be made to the level. Next we had Atlas Apologist level, which had also some slightly more hidden dust than other teams. So this porcupine up here usually could take a little bit longer to find than other things in the level. Dello tried his best to own on his team for a little bit, and was the only one that had trouble with this level, it turned out. Team Dello owns the team with the most layer 20 fell victim to the turkey behind the wall for quite a while. And then I think there was one other hidden one. There's this behind the waterfall that's kind of easy to spot. Force Super here. But yeah, just gotta be careful in these kinds of maps. And finally, we have Obap the Squeakle. Ended up being SS the fastest by most teams. Not too many crazy surprises here. Just, you know, a little bit easier than the other ones. Nothing too hidden. We got a Giga Wall that actually has dust on top of it. A lot of layer 20 procs. A lot of fencing in front of the foliage. And then plenty of stuff in this area. But not too many tricks on the level. Some of them did get a bit nerfed. Because it had to get beaten at some point to be valid to play. So yeah, if any specific people on each team want to be the one that upload the level, I'll send the right file to you, and you can do that. Or I might as well just send it in your team channel, and you guys can sort it out. So yeah, someone please upload it. Say you're the one uploading it as well. That way you don't all upload it. But yeah, definitely claim to be the one that uploads. Highly recommended. I know at least a couple of you had an idea for that. But yeah, try to upload it. Like, you can change the thumbnail and level name if you want, but try to keep it at that. You know, keep them as is. With that, let's go into the real levels. Let me prep all my stuff. I guess let me first make sure that the scoring happens for the relay, because that apparently wasn't updating. Alright, so looking at this, so the only thing remaining up for grabs is the challenge points with the task challenge, which mostly just comes down to how the placements go, because that's still pretty likely to change. Although I think Team Della owns clinches the round at least, even if ARP gets last on it. You there in the pod. All right. Now let me actually set up what I'm doing. Chat now visible. Alright. Our first level, our big level of the round, Luciferin by Idle and Dello. We had the hardest gold and red once again on the long level. But 35 people making it for the gold, which was a 40.5. And we had 11 people make the 37.5 red key. If anyone has replays they want to request, feel free to shout it out. I don't always see it in the chat, so it also helps to say it. So let me know if I miss anything, or if there are any cool routes that could have happened. This was the least achieved route of the whole DLC. That's a fun fact. It was 35 of them. Due to the rescue, got on the dot. A lot of people enjoying the round 3 maps. You can say how much you want in the map poll. Pretty strong final round of maps, DLC.
Yeah, definitely a pretty solid map set.
Conscious hitting 20th place. Still gold 3 though. Hardest red key as stated. Yeah, the invert key being 2x is something that I normally try to avoid, but I figured I'd try it out here. Might as well have a challenging one, and occasionally people like it. Actually, a lot of people did end up playing it, but we'll talk about it when we get there. I definitely like to, if I would ever have to do 2x though, I wouldn't want to mix it with the normal stuff. So I would make sure I do 2x first and then not have to worry about it. Oh, Tessa's replay is right under those. She's got top 20. Alright. I thought there was no way it was going to be lower than that. Conscious 2 for 2 on DLCs. Probably not gonna use too many ghosts on this level. Shoutouts to Entity Outliner when it gets used.
Shoutouts to Tess for not being able to see the strats yet still getting that run.
Better round for invert, not being a full man round.
Yeah, this week was definitely the best for variety. Yeah. Even kid cracking.
Noel getting the red key. Wazzy with a pretty good round. Pretty good showing from Wazzy with CLC.
Yeah, Wazzy actually got a lot of our early reds this week.
Three dash. Really pulling away with the strats over Lucky's at the end. The last third or so. Idle part of another 3-person challenge this round. Idle, Arb, and Masa. But this time, Idle unable to get the last hour box. Mapmaker advantage, not enough. But good enough.
Is being the is being the Mapmaker really an advantage though?
Mapmaker blindness too strong.
Seriously though.
One more heavy for the fans.
Gotta get the swag buffer.
Arbor the low boost. How much time did that end up saving, do you think?
With how I was executing it was like somewhere around 0.1 to 0.2. In TAS it's like 0.3.
There used to be a low boost just like that at the end that I remembered to remove. It was one of the last things that changed about the levels. I was like, hey, we shouldn't have this kind of stuff. I don't really want people to have to go for the low boost. But I forgot that it does that kind of thing in more than one spot.
Right. Well, at least it's right at the start.
Yeah. But this is a lot less consequential as well.
Yeah.
The one that one near the end of the level would have been a big deal. Much higher speed. Because you do that after the 3 dash. So the prisms ended up getting raised quite a bit.
Oh, that, yes.
Yeah. Masa with big challenge points. Yeah, I did not tell Idle about 3 dashes.
Yeah, it's crazy too because like the 3 dash actually saves the point a lot. It's like order of 0.2, 0.3.
Is she in the middle of the pack?
Good old IWJ. Beautiful speed keep.
3 frames, that's all it takes. Oh. You know, 2 plus not dying. As well. Alright,
Oh, there is the TAS here too.
yeah, there's a task here. I also have a Lotad link. I don't know which one's gonna be faster.
No
So
idea.
let's click the one that's actually published, which is the way that I prefer it. Taking a little bit of a lead. Getting the ceiling boost. I don't remember seeing anyone doing the down dash for that. Did you do that too? I wasn't really paying attention.
What the
For the ceiling boost on the dust blocks?
yes. Not in my run, but yeah, in the TAS. I think Fetchy did it too.
But, yeah. I wasn't looking for it, but I remember doing that in testing. Lots of cool stuff in there.
Yeah, that super saves like 0.1, and it only saves 0.1 if you have like perfect speed preservation. So like, I tried it a few times RTA, and it just doesn't work.
Not quite the task challenge, but two taskers going at it on another level. But only low tads, not really doing the utmost.
Right. Yeah, the quote-unquote low tad. It's like, oh, it's a low tad because we only saved a frame.
Plenty of differences.
Was that ending actually faster? I could have sworn I tried that and it was slower, but
Not sure.
I'll check it later.
Yeah.
Again, I guess.
Alright. 2x.
Yeah, I mean that's just the camera in every 2x map though, Bird. That's just how it works.
Yeah, this was me seeing if people were willing to stomach 2x on this kind of level. And honestly, a lot of people played it, a lot more than I expected. There were 22 people that got the invert plus, only 2 people on top of that still managed an SS.
I mean, maybe it's because I knew the map really well, but this one didn't feel too bad as far as camera went.
Yeah.
Definitely could have been a lot worse.
I mean, basically, you get like a little section one at a time, and then, you know, you get to stand still for like a moment, or at least walk forward. So you're always doing things kind of one thing at a time. Nothing too far from camera. But when you try to go really fast, you know, 2x fast even, then it can get problematic. And you have the super to work with. Good idea. Yeah, 2x is not the kind of thing you want to play around the same time as anything like a relay. Let's see what Arp did. The one who made
Nothing
a
too
mistake.
interesting.
Does anyone have any noteworthy 2x ones they want shown? It's more of an execution test than like a routing kind of thing.
Outplayed, man. Alright, I guess show that replay. Because why did cow play man?
We'll check this leaderboard. Oh yeah.
Cow doing cow things? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, there he is. Shout outs to cow.
Let's check out the top 3. Pretty good spots for super, especially for consistency. These players still not quite pushing the limits of the camera, but getting close to that edge.
Yeah, we really needed like Doug to play this or something. He was out for a lot of the rounds, so I'm sure he'd do something crazy with this. Okay, it must actually stretching out the end.
Alright, Tempe's Caveway, map by gameplay by Temp, art by Uckies. We have, it's about in the middle of the pack in terms of all the stats, really. Good amount of people grinding it. But definitely, yeah, definitely one of the more frame grindy kinds of boost levels this time. For gold key, we needed a 15.75. There were 44 people that got that. We're gonna see a lot of previews of the faster strats. Because ultimately, gold is very much like a red key in terms of you're going for the same kinds of strats, but you know the execution isn't always there. You gotta do things really well or push the limits for that red sometimes. Coming from the gold perspective. Paul getting the gold 3. Making it into 30th place for that one leaderboard point. There was a big fight over the leaderboard points in the final day between Team Della Owns and Eyes on the Fries. Eyes on the Fries had it for a little bit, but pretty sure Fishy certainly helped clinch it.
Yeah, I mean, Fishy was already up there, but I jumped from like 11th to 3rd, and I guess Camel got me back like earlier today.
Oh, 9 days ago, nice. Well, you barely stayed in the top 30. We go with the earlier side heavy.
Yeah, only very slightly slower that
Yeah.
side heavy. It's like 3 or 4 frames, if I remember.
Nighthawk getting the red key, which was a 14.8 time. Looking like mostly the expected, intended strats. Evade making it into top 20. Going to that left wall. This is the level that, although it doesn't look like it now, Team Della Owens had a good start on at the beginning of the round. Remember you guys grinding this one quite a bit early.
Wuzzy took to it pretty early, and of course, Fishy had his run on pretty soon after. I think JBC also did an early run as well.
Fishy was sitting at about 14.4 around the time that you guys all got these runs. Rare Game Duck appearance though. That one was not at the beginning of the round.
Yeah, that was, I'm pretty sure, literally a few hours ago.
Game Duck getting some keys. But needed to show up the other rounds to have a chance. JVC hitting 10th.
Yeah, I think this was the run he got like early in the round.
Yeah, I think so. JVC looking like he's losing the full couple frames on that super.
Yeah, maybe. It's actually kind of crazy like how pronounced it looks when you do that.
Yeah, so one little tech fact of the round, let's say. If you do your super during the heavy hit stop, you actually lose a bit of time. So it is optimal to delay the super input until the hit stop is pretty much over.
Yeah. Luckily, it is like literally the exact same timing as dash cancel, unless you're someone who does pre-hit stop dashes, which I don't believe anyone does. So, you know, easy enough to learn. Yeah, so like the reason why there's a middle ground is what happens is that if you do the super during a hit stop, the time dilation of the super applies to the hit stop counter, so it makes it longer basically. So the earlier you do it into that counter, the more that the time dilation of the super affects.
Yeah, think of it kind of like stacking time dilation.
Yeah.
Which you'd rather not do.
Strangely enough, this was a lesson I learned like years and years and years ago with the supremely difficult task. Not supremely difficult, infinity difficult task.
Oh, okay.
Different map.
I don't know how long ago I learned that, but it was interesting to me to see that some people discovered this little knowledge for this level.
Mm.
Does Mossos or anything that I just played? Yeah. Frame tie. Yeah, I want to say I actually learned it when I did the alleyway any percent task, when there was not an alleyway any percent task. And I was just like, I'll take the SS task and then just mess around with the ending. And save like 2 frames. And then I learned when you had to super.
Yeah.
So yeah, alleyway, pretty sure that's how I learned it too. A while ago.
2 frame blood cancel in this run, by the way.
This was that one?
Yep.
There it is. No double tap needed.
Nope. Will I learn them for 1-framers? The answer is no.
This was another once record until just about the final day when Fishy decided to defend a few. About, I want to say about 24 hours ago, maybe a little less, Sheila had 3 records at the same time. Yeah. But unfortunately, they all got taken away. Gotta save a few more frames than that to keep a world record in DLC, I guess.
Yeah, that's the experience of playing in a DLC with Fishy in it.
And Ducky's
No
in
record
one.
is safe. And Huggies.
Both of them defending the records very well. The gatekeepers of DLC, if you will.
Okay, how hard did I throw on the task challenge? Let's see.
Yep, so we have 3 completed runs for our task challenge. And it's just the normal route, man SS tasks. I don't have any additional replays, so we're just gonna click them in order. Got crashes to see first. I'm kind of funny with that, Big Abby. What a difference. 13.65. And going down the list.
Ah, right.
Got the MHP. Oh, RLJ over there. How many dwarfs were worth it after all in TAS? Saving 6 frames over fresh. And for the win, we have Sasha saving at least a little bit more time. Same approach there, a little bit different.
Elevator heavy. Okay, interesting. Ember, you're crazy.
I mean,
Nah,
sometimes if
that's-
you take away, or if you use the right save state, you'll get it all the time.
True. Nah, MHB and RTA, that's unhinged.
Yeah, but Sasha with the 0.2 victory on the task.
I gotta watch this one. That ending was cool.
Check it out one more time. Oh, turn off Ghost. I'll show it again though. Might as well slow it down. Do you guys time the dwarf in that climb?
Which one?
The one where you go up really fast?
I am not. I'm not sure.
Oh, I'll
Like,
show you.
yeah, I don't know. Oh, the corner wall jump.
Yeah, right here. Did you ever time dwarfing here?
Oh, that. No. I mean, I always had the art charge there from the, the boost up.
Yeah, you're going up pretty
so.
fast. That was one of the only dwarfs that I kind of left in, let's say, because it was only kind of viable if you got about a 2-framer or something.
Mm.
Yeah, for that task, you have so much upward speed that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Also, it's not an elevator heavy. It's just like
Yeah.
a normal heavy. You skip the wall entirely.
Right, yeah, I just saw it. It looked like an elevator in the when I was watching the
Yeah,
stream.
it looks
but,
kind
yeah,
of like it.
very cool.
Alright, with that, although it'll be a few minutes to represent it, that will swing the challenge points. In Eyes on the Fries favor for the round. But not enough for the full swing. But I will fix the final results later because it has to be manually done. Alright, we have Worth Pogo. Another use of Pogo for some reason. Over here we had 20 people get the Invert Plus. Required 22. We have some pretty good use of Pogo in this DLC. A lot more than I initially expected. But it's kind of popular, turns out. I thought this was probably one of the harder uses of it for anything. You know, not counting Faster Master, where you don't even really call that Pogo. There's just so much stuff on it. But it's a little bit of a tradition to put Pogo on a otherwise boosty level. And then have to deal with it.
This one probably would have made for a fun task, given how crazy you can go with Pogo and task.
Yeah, maybe.
Dying during the result screen.
This one you have to cancel a lot of bounces early with dashes to, you know, pick up all the dust. There's a lot of dust on the ground.
Back is requesting his replay here.
Yeah, I was gonna show that one next.
Oh, he's not there anyway.
But Bamboo with a strong #1 here. Really curious about how long Bamboo spent on this one.
Honestly, no idea.
And maybe how Team Del Owens could have used that energy a little bit better to try to win. Yeah, pretty clean run. 17.9.
Yeah,
Let's see.
going fast in Pogo with boost maps, you have to do some crazy stuff.
That would have been good enough for a silver without Pogo. Me doing the turn off Pogo before you exit the level so you don't have to bounce in the Nexus. JVC could learn a thing or two from that. Okay, we have the other half of the temp maps, this DLC round. In fact, both Dual Surge and Tempe's Caveway were originally part of the same map. Originally, Temp made Forgotten Cascade and then was like, I don't really know what to do with this level. I'm just going to make another level. And then made what we ended up splitting up into Dual Surge and Tempe's Caveway. It was a one map combined. You might notice some similarities in the gameplay. And then Uckies did the art for Tempe's Caveway, and Masa did the art for Dual Surge. So some cool little divergence between the two of these halves of the level. Some changes here and there throughout. Here we had also kind of in the middle of how popular it was key-wise. There are 42 people that managed to get the gold key. Yeah, very fun level. Also with a bait Jorf in it, for those interested.
Yeah, I was joking about using the Jorf in RTA, and then wait a minute.
I don't think you're the only team that I noticed start to talk about Jorfs, either of the levels. This one in particular was the only one I wanted to joke about, at least.
Right, yeah.
Because right at the
I don't
start,
even remember. Yeah.
I'll just show it, but right at the start, this first Jorf in the level, I almost had a problem with it, and then I was like, well, actually, hold on, that's at exactly 0 X. That's a null Jorf. So, if any of you guys had trouble trying to Jorf at the beginning, that's why it was difficult.
Yep.
If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. It's just even harder.
Barely enough space for worth to jump in some of these corridors. That's kind of spooky.
Worth in that up heavy from below. Pretty sure that was the fastest worth. And kids? We have an invert. Probably used dashing in this run, I would suspect. Invert at the top of gold 1 with that run. In 30th place, getting that 1 point, we got Sasha. Back in Paul, just getting beaten out for that 30th. Back with the frame tie to this exact time, but no point. 31st. Exactly 19 people got the red key, which was a 21.6 on this level. So Mini Burger a little bit short of that. But boost maps are tough. Requires some very challenging execution In fact, Woodkey was just SS. That super at the bottom, also very dangerous in relays. Caught plenty of runs. Hard to hit that.
Yeah, we had a few we had a few mishaps during practice, so we made sure to like never super early there.
Steel Echo getting the red key.
Oh yeah, I don't know if we already skipped over Uckies, but we had a few requests to look at his replay.
Sure. Yeah, I did skip over it. Lucky's with the rare gold 3. Not grinding this one too much. Alright, throwing a little bit of time away at the end for some reason.
Thanks, Uckies.
Interesting decision.
Let's see how that stacks up to top 10.
Currently, was tied is now ahead of JBC.
Looking pretty even till the
Now
end,
tied.
and then our special strat, let's say. Shoutouts to Roof N. Secrets revealed for the people that didn't figure out that ending.
Good old Ruth End, dude. So I actually forgot that it was in Ruth N. So like I posted the strat and then JBC, like I told JBC about like a strat on Dual Surge, and he was like, "Oh, is it the Roof End boost?" I'm like, "Wait, what?"
So this is a wall boost. I'll slow it down when we get to the end. But basically, it just involves getting the right angle when you touch the wall. That's all it is. Just tap left, get a better angle. That's it. Saves a pretty big chunk of time, but only one key tier worth. Pretty rare to see that be used, especially on the right side. I mean, it's also rare on the left side, but it's free on the left side. But it looks like Eyes on the Fries and Alice Apologists not figuring that strat out. Which, compared to other kinds of strats on DLC maps, surprisingly one of the biggest ones that some people didn't figure out. Most teams figured out just about everything on the levels. Sounds like Camel and Amber doing it. I would certainly suspect the top 4 do it.
Yeah, Fishy and I do. I don't know about Idle and Noel. Though, judging by Idle's time, she probably does it. Yeah, this is still my only submitted replay on this map, other than my tasks.
And the relay.
Yeah, I guess, and the relay. That's true. Strangely, a lot of strat divergence between in the top 4 here.
Is she coming in from last place? Out of these ghosts, looks like. Very tight ending. We'll check out just the top 2.
Yeah, the 2 major climbs were handled differently here. By major climbs, I mean this one at the start, and then
Yep. Plenty of different ways to handle some of those areas, in fact. Although most of the level's pretty linear, still a good divergence. Where was
looks pretty similar speed-wise. Then check those out later.
Yep. Sub 20.
Just barely, though. I'm sure it could be lower. I kind of want to look at the alternative climb strats, too. Anyway, no dash.
Yeah. Animat with a run up here, too. Is this, this one's no dash, right? Either of those? Yeah, okay. This is another kind of classic category that I like to use every now and then. Kid no dash. A little reminiscent of a way that I used to jokingly time the wood keys. But a good fit for levels like this. They're playing it safe.
The super farm.
But if you wanted an invert plus, you needed to get a wood 2, which was a 35. Which plenty of people got.
You're just crowdsourcing the wood key times.
Somewhat tricky ending. You can get caught up without dash. A lot of 34 times. But obviously you don't have to keep going once you get it. Maso doing the fishy impression. Starting off more at the back, but gonna make it up. Saving all that time at the end. Switch over to low jump. JVC with a low jump.
Yeah, this was funny. So JVC got his run, and then he like just kept seeing people above him, and he's like, "Surely I can't let X person pop me, right?" And he ended up in record.
So a 13.53 would be enough for a wood 3. Fun fact.
Let's go.
But you only needed 16 seconds. And I believe this was the most common invert plus. Yeah, 44 people got the invert plus here. Only 3 people just got invert. We'll start with Cow's more intended route. Who at first, well, let's see what Cow originally intended. Alright. So Cow's original route was for sub 15. And I'm pretty sure the original intent was just make SS the invert. That way you can super farm, because super farming is slow. But I don't think we ever tested that. I'm gonna guess a lot of people did some super farming, but I don't really know. I haven't seen the fastest runs of this. But super farm only costs a little bit of time, especially when you have 3 prisms right next to each other. Then you don't have to go all the way up there. You can just super all that stuff. And turns out that's a big time save. Let's see what Kid does. Does anyone have any specific routes they want to show? Or want shown?
Turns out Kid just presses the like button really quickly and then has to do this. Idle requesting Till's run.
Yeah.
Ooh, we're out.
Looking pretty good.
Bird has his replay in the chat.
Yeah.
Yo, the wraparound. Sick.
Well, it turns out when you're allowed to jump, you can go a little bit faster. So we'll remove the weights. And what we end
One
up
could only
with
wonder why.
pretty lenient times here. ended up getting up to red 5. There were 53 people who got gold. I'm not sure how many routes there are really this level, but you need an 11-second run for gold. And there are plenty of ways to do it. If any of you guys see routes that I mean, if you see an omission of routes, let me know what to show. Got a couple people at 10 even, which was needed for red key. Why not Saucely's? Originally looking like the easiest red key of DLC, but turns out it wasn't even the most common one this round. Cow intended strats.
Also, Savade's replay just because he's playing Kid on this map of all maps.
Yeah, that looks pretty familiar to what I remember seeing. Doesn't look like a super farm.
Yeah, this looks like a familiar route.
Yeah, just do it as Kid.
Yep.
Steel Echo also getting exactly the frame, and from Team Dello owns. Turns out as viable as Man and Worth. And there was a bit of back and forth with what routes people were going for in the first couple days. Paul playing Worth. Hey,
A
Cal.
rare sighting. Oh, hey, Cow's here.
Tato Pez. A bit of a standout for Eyes on the Fries. It's DLC. At the top of Red 2. Wazzy getting the Red 3 as Man. We got a plant run. 4 V-Ceilings members all in a row. Is that lower than the man record?
I don't believe so. Just barely.
No brave girls. There are a lot of strong man Team Della owns routes until Worth really took over. Primarily by Eyes on the Fries. The red 5 territory for top 10. That's where all of them ended up. Within 10 frames of each other. The first attempt. In fact, there's only one frame, so representing 10 out of the 11 frames that this spans. There's a 1 frame difference between all but second and third.
That's fun.
That's how it works out. So no frame ties in the top 10.
There was one for a bit, and then Fishy decided to get another run. So.
Yep. Fishing and Indipop were tied for a bit as well. And then Sheila bopped them. See how similar these routes are.
Really queuing behavior.
I'll be getting a bit more height. Upon putting up a fight on this level. Also doing the buffered heavy to heavy. Losing some time. Well, that's only 1 frame. Just like the hold super too early, you lose 1 frame if you do the next heavy too early. But it's a huge window to not lose 1 frame.
Yep.
Team Della owns going a little bit higher. It could be that little boost that earns the win on the low. I have a couple other replays to show here. I don't know these.
Yeah, this was before we figured out that going left was good. So I was just trying a lot of stuff to max out the go right first route. And had a lot of obnoxious executions. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna post this, but don't use this replay yet because this is just like not good. And then like a couple hours later, you know, I finally got around to testing left first. Yeah, the right side lane that no one goes for because it's just awful.
Alright, onto the team collab maps. Team Della Owns does the gameplay. V Ceilings does the art. We have a reference to Wawa Woods with some V's. Vava Ovens.
Yeah, as Wazzy likes to call it. So yeah, it turns out we accidentally made a kid map.
Yup. I personally am a little bit surprised to not see it break into Red 3. But
Probably
we'll
could've,
see
but, you know.
where it ended up. This was one frame away from Red 3. Pretty rare that Red 3 didn't happen. That's a surprise. But it turns out it was pretty tough. This one's a... in order to get Red Key, you required a 13.6 and 18 people got it. Bird did most of the gameplay. I don't know if there are that many people in the community that recognize the Bird map more, just by the gameplay. So, I don't know. Bird's now under the radar. For Gold Key, there are plenty of people that got gold here. 14.8. The third most. Start off with what's mostly intended strats. But it is worth noting that there was painstaking effort to make sure that multiple routes were also viable. And we'll see if, in fact, other routes are viable at all. Heavy
Probably
said,
less
oh,
so
so
with-
let's see what Heavy did.
Probably less so with Kid, but
There are ultimately only a few paths that are worth taking.
you with the will cancel Heavy.
I don't know if just being around at the start is quite enough to be viable. Always, but never got the sub 14. In the top 30.
Because I believe Wart's only save here would be like at the end. And surprisingly, Kid actually doesn't even lose much at the end. As far as the climb goes, but she's just like way better at the combat.
Ronan getting 30th place. Jumping around. Back to a man run.
Pribble fraud is we're calling Kid now.
No Face just shy of red key, but got 20th. Nice heavy cancel. Back got the red though. That's how it goes back. Sometimes it really is just the levels you have to spend the most effort on. But we have some man holdouts. JVC gonna show mostly intended strats. Or expected intended. You know, the kind of strats that you can base red key off. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's reasonable to say nobody tried it.
Yeah, just no one ended up on it.
Yeah, not reasonable to keep doing the slope thing. That's usually how it works. Some lights at the end.
Yeah, that was a strat I had missed. It saves like 4 frames over the 4 heavies.
Masa with a man record. And just barely getting red too. I'm curious how much lower people would have gone with man. If, you know, kid didn't happen.
Swipe back up.
But it's
I don't know.
stopped here.
Yeah, and I think he got this run like around the start of the round and then never touched the map again.
didn't quite have to, sitting at 10th at the end. But I I definitely expect you guys are missing some main squads.
That is actual man record, yeah, for
Yeah, that is the man record. Everybody else played kid. But I didn't really hear much from any teams how much they wanted to further develop man. But
Yeah, on our team, very early, Sasha made a low tab for kid and for man, and the kid one was way faster, and we were just like, yep, guess it's kid. Forget it.
you guys have links for any of those?
I could dig him up if you want.
Yeah, that's what I show during the recap. I usually miss your team's low tads because I don't know where they are.
Yeah, for us it was like we went into the map expecting it to be man because that's what we tested with, and then like I loaded up the leaderboard and I noticed that there were just those kids on the top of the board. And I'm like, wait a minute.
And I'm just kind of sitting there, thinking to myself, I wonder if people are gonna switch back to man again. Because kid's only at red 2 right now. Isn't that a little suspicious? That's what I was thinking this whole round.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I had a very small suspicion that kid would be good at the map, but I just never thought to test her out. So I only knew like all the timings and stuff were based off of man's times that I had gotten.
Yeah, Idle was the first person to push kid, and it turns out sometimes that's all it takes for a meta to develop. They just copy. But it did not quite go in Idle's favor to that extent. Only at 4th place.
Oh, we got replay dump in the chat.
Good showing from Civade on the level.
Yeah, I guess I can link my man one too. That was a 12-9 and I made it.
Yeah, if you find it, that'd be good.
Yeah, no, it's just in the strat thread in the team. So, in a second.
Lucky's with the record of the round. Well, here's Abe Man replay. Just kidding, it's a girl replay.
Oh, right, I guess it was girl, not man. Forgot that.
Fine. Let's see what this one is. We have an ARB replay. Both of you guys are definitely missing strats along the bottom. Man,
Yeah, probably. Not exactly developed, I will say.
Yeah, that's fine. You just gotta imagine your kid is the hint. Alright. See where this This one shows too. .6, pretty good.
Yeah, this could have gone. This should be like a 12.56 because the lights at the end save 4 frames
Yeah.
over all the heavy cancels.
I'm trying to remember what I got in Lotad before the map came out. But I'll show you the different strat at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Because I want to say I was in the 12.6 range
Interesting.
as a man. I don't remember the exact time though, so I might be misremembering. And I'm pretty sure it was with the final game trigger. Alright. So I didn't pause in time to do something else at the beginning. But I'll show both of the possible differences. So one, I don't know the difference between jumping here versus dashing.
I never tested that, admittedly.
yeah,
so
so-
I don't know either.
What I was doing instead of this, I'm not gonna show the full thing. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but instead of this, I remember jumping here, hitting the heavy, and then dashing. I don't think it's really that crazy of a difference, but it does affect the speed that you get on this boost. Then confirming. So what I was doing here, you have, so the player slows down to, under 522 pretty quickly. I was jumping and doing an immediate dash up heavy.
Jump ADB, of course.
I think that lines up. But you still lose all the speed by the time you get there. It's just that.
Right. You keep a little bit more in the air.
Yeah, with a full hop, you still at least get to keep some of the speed. But that's
Right.
that's a pretty minor thing. I didn't really fully time that one. It's just that it was a little bit better. When you have a better boost, you get a lot more speed than
Yes.
like I was a little bit surprised to see I was all the way down to 522 because this isn't that much. The more important one is right here. What I was doing was dash there, wall climb, dash jump,
I see.
and it basically makes up for the kid difference.
Interesting.
That's a pretty big difference, in fact, compared to not
Yeah.
using air charge differently. And I don't remember the other stuff, but there is a funny thing with this specific spot, which is kind of unique. If you, oh yeah, Amber did just say it. So if you just let go of the ceiling, for some reason, you move up a unit. Seemingly, it doesn't show it on the position here, but for some reason you are 1 unit higher than you normally are, and don't actually land on the ground right here. So I'm not on the ground, but normally that is the case, and this isn't like I'm at 0 position issue. But it might be related to that because the floor, I think, is at 0. So maybe the floor being at 0.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, you're right.
But if you let go of the ceiling before that, then dash, you're gonna land, and then you have the air charge. So yeah, there's some silly stuff. Was this known before the map?
Yeah.
Yes, this was part of my red key timing because I thought for sure everybody would figure out this strat. Honestly, like, why wouldn't you do this? But everybody played kid instead, so no one actually pushed man to figure it out. Was the 1 unit thing known? Honestly, this is the first time I've seen that happen in this situation with a floor, not a ceiling. But yeah, I think you'll find man's a little bit closer with some little changes like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Could have been a lot more diverse at the top if everyone had found it instead of just going, "Ooh, kid."
Yeah, consider me very surprised that man didn't get a red 3. But that out of the way. We have Apolotaki. Gameplay by Eyes on the Fries. Avenged did the art for Atlas Apologists. They originally thought they might have a kid map on their hands, is what some early talks sounded like, but it really wasn't that close ultimately. Eventually some more worth changes happened, and not really a surprise that it's a worth kind of map. But they had a couple of silly strats in there that didn't get changed, or at least one anyway. Let's see what we got here. There were 54 people who got gold, and this was 41 people on the red key. Pretty sure that's the highest in all of DLC 9. Ended up being even easier than I expected. I thought it was kind of easy, but I didn't think it would be easier than Why Not Saucely's, personally. But it's fine. It's good to have some easier ones every now and then. I like it when a lot of people get a chance at something like that and a DLC like this. Let's form a baseline. Heavy showing off the big down heavy. Got a run from Goose here. For gold 2. Gonna show Heavy how Worth works. First place with the red one 12 flat. Known kid player Wet. Pretty good with other characters too, it turns out. Did enough for the red key. Joined by Jake, who got the frame first. Hobo and Paul also got the same frame, stopped there. Let's go one frame lower though. Invert and Dill sharing the red 2 frame. Duck sliding into 20th place.
Speaking of, we had that broom challenge here, which I'm sure we'll watch later.
Yep. So Duck with a vision on the level. Able to get red too. What's next tier? Next tier is 11.5, which is all the way in this place. GBC just out of the top 10. In this top 10, first and 10th were again actually separated by 10 frames. But this time a lot more frame skipped and frame ties. A lot of people pairing up in the top 10. Some of these worth points just by getting it first. Idle was 5th. Only 4 frames away. Arb with the ledge cancel.
Not a 2-framer here, though. Issue with another 1-frame bop. Some pretty subtle differences between the runs. They all look kind of the same, but everybody's got their own little, I do my down dash this way going on. There's a change of pace. Kid Lotad going below. Yo, if Burnson's still in chat, you were right. That boost was for Kid.
Well, I don't know if it was actually faster or not, but we made sure it wasn't too viable.
The kid Lotad on this map, it's the one that Sheila linked in the chat.
Yep. Yeah, don't have to scroll apart, very far for it. But the worst Lotad a little bit faster.
Almost the exact same route as RTA.
Alright, we had one special challenge here. Something that I'll show off briefly what it looks like. But not for too long. We have... Actually, we'll see what Ghosts do. We have a Paul Tacky by Cow and Duck, who got to play the level in Broom. And they definitely know what they were doing. They were not allowed to look at what the level normally looks like until the challenge was over. It's a nice and quick level, so we'll show them both in Broom first, and then you can see the cow ghost be. We'll see
The
it
name
kinda
tag off in the
touch
background. So that's how it works in Broom.
But yeah, looks pretty normal, right? Almost enough for red key. Let's see what that looks like out Broom. See what they're doing. So not finding the down heavy from above, the main difference, but mostly looking the same.
Yeah. So while I was watching Doug play this, he was saying he actually found the down heavy, but he thought it required a short hop, and so he didn't go for it.
He could have got that red key.
Could have.
Got it later anyway. I have an image, at least.
Oh, is this the cow MS Paint?
Yeah. Well, not MS Paint. This is actually this is a screenshot.
Oh,
of
okay.
Cow's rendition of the level. I'll first zoom out, show everybody what this looks like.
Wait, what is that gap in the Death Stones?
What could it be? All right, so here's the normal version. Here's the cow version. Pretty close. Normal version.
Remarkable.
Cow version. Cow said he's probably gonna release the level. So feel free to do that when you want. At this point. I'm sure it'll be played exactly the same way. Maybe a slight change or two.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Doug
pretty
was also
close.
supposed to do this, but he forgot about it and started playing the map for real.
Yeah, some minor differences. Obviously, Cow not paying too much attention to the geometry on the outside of the level, but that's not what's important. There you go. That concludes the normal levels. We have 4 more invert maps to show. I don't think anyone got those death zones right. I don't know if anyone did unload or out of bounds or any of that. As always, you can do the map poll, but we got the invert maps to go through. Starting with Higher Ruin CW, which is based on a couple maps. So there are actually a few versions of this level. The one that people know, they're aware of the original, not rotated. Well, not the original, but they're aware of the refurbished High Ruins. There is an original High Ruins that is not refurbished. That is a little bit harder than this, but the one that people know and love, you know, in quotes, is the CMP version High Ruins. Refurbished. So, you know, spot the differences if you can. Now in the normal map, there are such wonderful things like Death Zone and other complications. There's also a Death Zone right here that you guys might recognize that you don't have to die to. That was in there for a little bit, and then I was like, I guess I'll be a little nicer to get rid of that Death Zone. But yeah, there's this one, and then at some point, iBums had the wonderful idea to rotate the levels. Which is apparently not easily accessed on Atlas. But the level that is not in my history either is on the impossible list for very good reason. I will get that. I can. Alright, so we start with things like, you know, Death Zone over there. You have your Death Zone over here. This level was on the impossible list, and I was like, I want to find some impossible levels to make accessible, or, you know, other good kind of way to play the level. In this case, although it is certainly accessible now, and Firm did get the SS, SS was not the focus, which I'm sure plenty of you appreciate. It was just any percent, and any percent was already hard enough with Pogo and Rope Dart. This was one of the more challenging invert pluses. In fact, the most challenging out of the round 3 maps. The most rare. Only 17 people getting invert plus. Getting all my stuff back. But plenty of people got the invert. 34 people. So half of people got the invert plus that got it. And there was also a challenge here, which we might as well show off that one first. We'll start with the invert baseline. Very difficult kind of invert. execution heavy, and anything with rope dart being required, you know, in quotes, kind of like this, certainly is a big skill addition. So this was a very high skill ceiling kind of invert. Plenty of ways to go faster with both pogo and a rope dart, and how they actually combine. And a very difficult combat ending on top of all that. So, showing the struggle a bit. So that's pretty much how it's expected to go. We had a challenge between True Noob and Heavy, and they were not allowed to press that rope dart button. There were also a lot of people that tried this out as either Worth or Man, pretty split. So I found that interesting to see. Personally, I only tested this as Man because Man is way better at pogo than Worth. You can bounce higher after all. Extra fall speed. But yeah, a once impossible level made possible with pogo. But I didn't want to force people to Jorf, and I needed a second plugin to stick on this level anyway. But for these two players who decided to Jorf, they didn't even need another button. Heavy finding a shortcut that I don't actually remember seeing many people go for. Simplification. And gotta do a drawer. With the heavy cancel on the wall. Your PB doesn't use rope dart? I don't know who does and doesn't.
I suspect most people do.
There was a lot of talk from a couple people who thought you had to Jorf. I remember seeing that. But it makes a little bit of sense that people also didn't know that rope dart was an option for a bit, since the game doesn't just outright tell you you have rope dart available. But it makes things much easier when you realize you have it, such as by reading the announcement. Yeah, well, staying out of the night aggro range. Combat, one of the trickiest parts of this level. There are a few ways to handle that. Rope dart not syncing correctly for some reason. little Dust Kid moment. Gotta have one of those. We'll give it a little bit. No Face and a few other people have found some Rope Dart plus Pogo tech, call it. Because they do combine in kind of funny ways. Turns out they do combine a little bit sometimes, like when you're falling into them. I believe No Face was the first one to get this Invert Plus, and it was the final Invert Plus that was earned out of any of them. At the time, the only man player near the top. Personally, I didn't try this level as worth it all. So I don't really know how much harder it was for either character. Round out with the top three. How with a better death work. Showing how it's really done with the dwarfs. Someone using the tried and true method of just rebind the taunt button to your light button for Rope Dart. Doesn't lose too much time, as you can tell. But kind of funny to see it not also rebinding light. Yeah. In rope dart levels in DLC, my normal recommendation is just switch your taunt and light button binds. But in this case, if you like light in combat, not as recommended. We'll check out the SS, not too long. Most of the remaining stuff is pretty short, other than SD2. I know, although some of you like to take breaks after DLC is over, maybe Firm will find a new love in the Most Wanted list on Atlas after playing levels like Faster Master for SS. Some people like to try out other stuff. Take the opportunity to try some full game, maybe. Good save. Someone's fortunate to have super at the end. Alright, Katamari Lair, one of the more lenient times for one of these categories. Definitely the opposite of the one we just saw. This one had the second most invert pluses and a tie for second most inverts. Nearly hitting 50. 48 of them. There were 38 invert pluses, which simply required SSing it in 40 seconds. Let's see how Delo did, who gave it a shot. So, Katamari Lair. I'll show what this is based on, but based on Dark Wild Den and Ultimate Fog Trigger that's in the Apple Secret area. But Katamari Apple involves an apple that gets bigger as it collects enemies, and you gotta collect them all to finish the level. Which, as you can tell, is not really that easy. And the apple is pretty unwieldy. You also get a little bit bigger in this kind of custom Katamari script. Not really that much bigger, but you know, certainly bigger than original small size. But as you can tell, it's really not that easy. Didn't notice the player growing? Well, you start pretty small. So let's see Temp do it. That big Delo ghost. Yeah, if you want to go fast in this, you can mash that light button. But I didn't want to be too strict with the requirement on this kind of level. You know, imagine if this one had as much of a requirement as, say, Higher Ruins. Then this would easily be the motivated invert. But we see a few people pushing it pretty far. Some people for the relay practice. We'll see how they did. And then the Tesh at the end. The apple is a little bit weird in Katamari Apple because it slows down as it gets bigger too. There's time warping going on. That's kind of strange. That's just how the plugin works. And 2x being on the level, it's kind of funny that it speeds up other things like the menus, how the script is implemented here. Missing the bear on the first pass. But the real grinder here was Mitesh. Turns out, spamming lights all the time is not really that fast. "19-second run." On a Dark Force throwback, here's what the original level looks like. All of the enemies in the same spot, but now you actually have to deal with them. At least you get super in this version of Wild Den. And then the alternate fog trigger is up there. And then all we really did was just move a bunch of beef props down there, cover it up. Throw a few scripts on there and it's good. Back to DLC 4, we have the original downward spiral. When you can't hyper down dash, you gotta take some pretty normal looking boosts. So I wanted to make sure that people pressed that down dash button. And this ended up being a relatively hard invert because, hey, well, you gotta press dash. I can't just let a dashless run earn an invert, right? So you gotta get at least top 5 on the original level. Most mad Duskforce has made you. You go a little unreasonably fast, unfortunately. Hyper down dash. But sometimes that's the fun, you could say. And there are a few tricks you gotta know in basically all of the inverts. You know, when you don't want to down dash and how you want to get rid of speed sometimes. But people like different kinds of things. Some people like apple juggling when it's weird. Some people like going fast when it's weird. Yeah, 19 people get the sub 12. Doesn't even matter too much what character you pick, because you're just gonna switch characters a lot. But depending on your dash counts, it's gonna line up differently in different spots. Noel, I think Noel was the first person to get this. People from Eyes on the Fries there. Amber ended up getting it anyway. Didn't give up on it. But probably wanted to. Really got those inverts for the team. Very fast ending. But we can go even faster. No super needed. Of course. Might have to slow that one down a little. We'll go even slower mode. 1/4 speed. Pretty cool low tad from Sasha. Oh, there was another one too. I didn't even realize. I just went on my other tabs. Unique super by Cow. Yeah, I don't know why no one did it like this in the relay. Crazy. But instead we do have a sub 5 run from Angmapede. Fun little category. Usually I wouldn't stick SS on it, but it worked out pretty well for the level. That ended up being the rarest invert because of the requirement I stated. Had to get top 5 on the original level. Only 22 people got it. Although I'm not going to show any replays, but there was an additional kind of challenge here. I don't know if there's a special name for it, but they had to get all scores. That might be the name. I don't know. All scores between Firm and Mini Burger, who played the level. They had to get every single variation of SS, SA, AS. You know, all the B's, all the C's, all the D's. You know, had to get DD, DA. Had to get DC and BC. All of the variations, had to play them all. Ended up being won by Mini Burger. See completion, pretty tough, yep. And finally, we have Supremely Difficult 2. This is the original upload of SD2 that has all the stuff that you would, you know, expect, and a little bit more. Unfortunately, when JVC made the level, he left in some old stuff. Original Supremely Difficult made by ARP. You can see most of it right here. And then JVC kind of copy pasted it a couple times. Carved out what ended up becoming SD2 in the middle. And forgot to do any of this stuff. Including the other 5 trigger. Was the old version. So, it turns out, let me also show that one more time. This version did also have the prism way up top. I did move this prism a little bit, as you'll soon see. I moved it to the other side of this line, so it was a little bit easier and not basically TAS. There is one SS on the original SD2, not the exact original, but you know, the one that mattered. Let's go through here quickly. Anki's with the let's find maps on the impossible list. Me saying things like iRuins, repurpose CW, good idea. Just add like Pogo and Rope Dart and it's possible. Aki's the only one to SS Supremely Difficult 2, but knowing that there are impossible versions of it, suggested it, threw on the no clip air charges. Pretty fun little joke that worked with a couple people ultimately. Few people didn't realize that there were huge sections all the way over to the sides. first passes. Yeah, there are a few of those. A-Boss was one of the first. 5 people beat the original map. But we have the most popular invert. The easiest invert intended. SD2. In fact, all you needed to do for invert was this. So with infinite air charges, no clip, you can just go through everything. And even though now you have to, you gotta get all that dust. And all that otherwise impossible dust. All you really needed for an invert was go to the end. And 60 people did it. Somehow we convinced 19 people to SS this level. I don't know why. 19 people got it, I guess, but you know, that's pretty cool, right? We're not gonna watch all of them, but let's at least check out JVC's to start. So first thing, you gotta go all the way over here. Gotta dodge a death zone over there too. You got big death zone here. We're gonna see JVC's routing skills at work. See the intended route of the level. But JVC and ARB got to, you know, relive, you know, highlights from the past. Each one of them contributing to the gameplay of the level. And unfortunately, we don't have the normal no-clip dust collection. That was not part of how this script worked. Unfortunately for the players, you don't just get dust for free by lighting in its vicinity. You had to actually attack the dust. And the real challenge of the level is more of, it's a memory kind of test. Are you gonna remember to get all the dust? There's so much. You can go anywhere. It's also kind of hard to see. JVC looking for dust. There is also a death zone by that apple. Turns out you can't get the apple out of there. The apple doesn't just fall for you in no clip, because it's not real no clip. Checking for dust. Good gigawatts. Avoiding the funny dust spread. Not falling into the death zone somehow. Alright, we're we're coming up on the execution test. It's a little bit tight to get up there, but you can manage. You have to practice that a little bit, know what you're doing. That was the only thing that was, you know, nerfed about the level, other than all of the spikes don't kill you. You get so many air charges. Some people victim to AS on the level a few times. Unfortunate, but it happens to the best of us. I don't know if anyone got AS and didn't end up getting the SS afterwards. JVC getting a little close to Death Zones maybe? Not that close. Some teams making very good use of their teammates with this level, since it's difficult to remember where all the dust is, and you could just get help from a friend. You could be in the voice channel at the same time as someone else, and they show you what dust you might be missing, or what's coming up, where death zones are. After all, you only have to SS it once. Some people had other solutions too, like having another instance of Dust Force up, or watching a video. Gotta be close to this death zone too. We got a few on the bottom and to the right. There's a little bit more dust to the right side here. There's a good reminder time, since there's only a few more replays we're gonna watch total. Good time to fill out the poll, the map poll. We'll check out the results for that in a little bit. So if you really like SD2, go ahead and say it's your favorite invert map. And we'll, I guess, know to do more maps like this. You like it that much. I hear SD4 might be on the horizon though. We'll see now that DLC's over. JVC trying to remember where death zones are. At least one run was lost by JVC and No Face each in such areas. Gonna throw a few of these on together. See if people diverge much. A lot of eyes on the fries up here. I have a feeling they might do kind of the same stuff. So I'll throw on another team too.
Yeah, I think our strat was copy conscious, and basically everyone did that.
But only one person really pushed SD2 to the limits. And it's the one that also probably has the most ASs by far. So, eyes on the fries, going this way.
Yeah, this route does make sense. Ours, like, well, it wasn't meant to be fast, but it's obviously a lot slower because we just wait until we get all the way to the left to start collecting dust at all.
Unfortunately, I don't quite think this was meant to be fast also. Because, you know, if you're gonna keep ASing it, you don't really want to AS it for that long.
That is true.
You kind of just keep going because, well, I mean, you're not gonna want to go slow the second time. You're gonna get better with all this practice, getting all those ASs. Amber, do you have a number offhand how many ASs you have? It was pretty tragic. Rough. Everybody else kind of going their own way. At different paces. Meeting up for a little bit. High fives. Alright, not even pushing the limits of how far away you can do this. That's a confident attempt. Anyone else getting close? A little farming going on back there. You got Big Diesel dropping in. Camel. Fila. Who's next? Conscious and Maso. There was one additional challenge that happened this round. So if you like the level the way it is, you might like it even more if you use the inverter plugin, which switches all dust to spikes and all spikes to dust. So as you can see in places of the level kind of like this, there would be a lot of dust that you can collect. And we had people kind of joking around, like, you know, what would be some funny challenges to do that you can just kind of do it quick and, you know, little, you know, meme quality kinds of challenges, ultimately. So just doing this with inverter sounds horrible, but what if you could only play it for 10 minutes? And during the 10 minutes, you're probably not going to get an SS, but how much dust are you going to be able to collect in 10 minutes? and we put that to the test. 4 players did. They did a challenge to see using the low percent display in order to count up the total dust that they got. How much dust can they collect in 10 minutes? And they must submit a replay. So if they don't submit a replay, it counts as 0 within the 10-minute time limit. How much dust can they collect? Also, they're not allowed to do things like farming the apple or farming heavy prisms, even though a couple accidental lights happen in the actual attempts. But that's okay. We ended up with some big numbers. And there were 4 brave people who played with Inverter on. Yeah, definitely could have done 15, but at that point you're collecting just about all the dust. And that would not have been very entertaining. 10 makes it a lot more interesting of a race, in my opinion. So they were not scored by score or time. They were scored by amount of dust that they had. See a preview of how the level looks. Yeah, Conscious died a couple times right at the start. Went into the death zones. So has a shorter run than the others. The winner of the challenge was JVC. We're gonna go through this a little bit faster, but you can see Conscious collecting some dust over there first. JVC avoiding the death zone barely. These people agreed to not practice this beforehand. They just wanted one shot. They got 10 minutes to spare. Let's see JVC spam that light button one more time. In the meantime, you guys can remember to, you know, do the map pull. It's big heavy time. Hitting some checkpoints. But the idea is, because you may not remember the level very well, you really don't want to die. And you also really don't want to run out of time. JVC doing down heavy is not collecting dust. Doing more jump attacks than falling through stuff at times, though. But I'm sure you don't always want to do super drops. All this to collect. Where are other players? You can see them all in these areas. And follow the hitboxes. But with a 10-minute time limit, you know you want to spend some time all the way on the side. JVC with about 4 extra dust. Extra light. We'll see when they transition over to the right side. But I'm giving them, you know, minute updates. Gotta tell them when it's 4 minutes in and all that. Another light, uh-oh. But don't worry guys, he won by enough where the extra lights didn't matter. No need to worry about keeping combo anymore. It goes away. But with the display up, you would see the total count still be there. I wonder if it'll show up immediately. It does. So with low percent display, you just see the cleaned count. JVC getting close to the death zone, perhaps. Everyone else still over here. Didn't get too close to this death zone. Ended up supering. So I don't know if JVC ever looked it up, but there you have it. Little break on the heavy button with some lights. Everybody on the middle now. If you want to do fun challenges like this in the future, these are the kind of people you want to do challenges with, clearly. We had Avenged, Conscious, Amber, and JVC do this challenge. I hear they all loved it a lot and would do it again. Let's see. One person going all the way to the right side. Yeah, that was Amber. Amber did die once. 1 minute to go. Does JVC get close to the death zones? Doesn't look like it. Think about what other dust there could be in the level. Yeah, you got close a couple times, but it wasn't that bad. Good dust spread. 5,200 falling between the dust zones. Won the challenge by about 700 dusts, something like that. Amber unfortunately lost about 500 in a death. Oh, none of the dust collected on the right counted? Wow. But the difference of about 500 between each group there. That concludes the DLC 9 replays. A lot of stuff to go through in round 3. As I said earlier, I will input the challenge results fully and get a good recap together for the recap. I'll post a little summary with the final scores, because it doesn't have the correct challenge points in quite yet. I have to do it manually. So I'll post that pretty soon. I'll post the links to all the VODs and stuff, all the results and all that. But we do have a few things remaining, so even though that was, you know, the final replays, here's what we got coming up remaining. I'll show you the map poll results. That's one. Tomorrow or the next day, something like that, I'll release an overall map poll. You can vote on your favorite maps of all DLC 9. Give your feedback as well for all the stuff. I'm gonna do a post-mortem stream in about a week, so that might be on next Saturday. We'll see. It's up in the air a little bit. I will announce when I plan to do it, but it'll probably be next weekend. I'll talk about how DLC 9 went overall. Show off a lot of stats that are fun to look at. Maybe we'll have the cool maps that got made for the easy bounty. I'll have to update the Nexus, throw an Eyes on the Fries in here. I'll do that pretty soon. And I might as well tease some future events, I guess. Maybe I'll come up with something to tease in a week. Who knows what's on the horizon? DLC is quite a beast when it comes to events in Dust Force. Definitely shapes how things go, how we schedule things. We have 31 responses to the map poll. Some Atlas apologists solidarity. Map gameplay looks pretty good for our maps this round. Everybody enjoyed the maps. No 1s or 2s on Luciferin. Pretty rare to see that. Also, same thing on Dual Surge. Not many haters this round. Turns out the people that spam 1s on stuff they don't like didn't have much stuff they didn't like. Round. Just Tempies. And the Politaki. But there were a few more 2s on Why Not Sosiles and Vava Ovens. But every map had their 5s. But yeah, good showing, especially by Dual Surge and Luciferin. Best aesthetic, Dual Surge getting 2/3 of the votes. Some other votes out there, but clear favorite. Favorite invert map, slightly favored Higher Ruin CW, but we got votes for everybody. Favorite invert key, also very spread out. Only 2 invert haters. SD2 and Higher Ruins, the 2 favorites, but certainly not a majority. Not even a 5th of players picking them. No jump, also pretty easy. So we have 2 of the easiest inverts and the easiest invert plus. And one of the hardest. We have various comments as always. The lovers and the haters. If you think Dual Surge is the best map of DLC, then I'll have a form for you pretty soon to pick your favorites of all DLC. See how that turns out. But as always, people have different opinions. Some people like stuff, some people don't like the same stuff. And then they'll switch what they like and don't like. But very good round to close out DLC 9 with. Pogo Jorf fan. Well. We got some other stats to look at. The level with the most replays was Why Not Sosiles. No surprise there, shortest level. Easiest to do all that grinding. Looks like Why Not Sosiles had the most valid replays of all of the levels. The most people actually grinding it ended up with the most replays on it. Also a lot of ASs. But not as many as O to Own. SD2 had 12 total unfortunate ASs. And we know where 9 of these came from. Only 1 SS on both Faster Master and Higher Ruins. No kid replays on Higher Ruins. Only a few kid replays on some of these levels. Kid impossible on a few, like Dark Blueprint and Inglue. Although Inglue, you can probably make it on Inglue. Get to the apple. Not sure if Kid makes it. Well, no, there's the apple on the right side. You're fine. But we'll have to see if anyone starts to play Kid. DCBC Ski Resort also mostly worth. But some invert categories are just kind of like that. Dual Surge the second highest rating, Dreamflood with the highest rating of any of the DLC maps. A little bit fewer votes on round 3 as well. But yeah, lots of stats. I'll show off more of this kind of stuff later on. During the post-mortem. In the meantime, though, you've earned a break. A 5 to 6 month break, you could say. So that does, for the most part, conclude DLC 9 stuff. Maybe some of those team maps are up by now. Oh yeah, Luciferin, not a favorite invert. Same with the Verdor map. Looks like that's the case. That's what we got. We'll have a post-mortem in about a week. We'll do it again another time. We'll do some fun stuff in the future. We'll probably have an abrupt showcase that's not too abrupt. I'm sure that'll be one of the events. Map competition. Maybe a CMR. We'll see. I will have to think about all that kind of stuff and get back to you in a week. I definitely would like to do an abrupt showcase. Either, near end of November. Might change up when it is. Maybe early December, like normal. We'll see. Thanks everyone for playing DLC. DLC is it's a group effort. I'll explain a little bit more, but during the postmortem. But it's a group effort. I get a lot of help from Rodent and Idle, Camel, Uckies. Plenty of people help out on the maps. Skyhawk a little bit on the bounties. If I didn't name you, it's definitely because I forgot you. But as I didn't list off all the map makers, really. Yeah, hopefully we get some more Dusk Kid kind of stuff happen with the DLC. There's definitely a wish list of stuff we want to do. If any of you guys want to be involved in events in the future, DLC or otherwise, let me know. There are going to be future events. There will definitely be future DLCs. I don't see any reason to stop. DLC 9 was somehow once again the biggest DLC. Really, we do just keep getting slightly bigger every time. Yeah, fun time. Do we have any people in the community to raid right now? Any Dust Force streamers out there? Anyone want to start streaming, playing these cool, easy team maps that may or may not be on Atlas yet? We do have the first one uploaded by Uckies, in fact. So, we have... Let's see. Uckies and Camel were the first two people to try out the Easy Bounty, and this is what the two of them came up with. They followed mostly the same instructions, but not exactly the same. It's a little bit harder than the ones that you guys played. I'll say that much. So Uckies has taken the liberty of uploading this a few hours ago. I hear it's very fun. But yeah, that's what we got. That's the recap.